On the 15th of October, when I saw Dr. Packer, my eye was clearing up with the blood. It was still a little bit of blood in the eye, but my eye was, the vision was kind of foggy and out of focus, and that's the way it stayed for about 2 weeks. But I could see, but the articles I saw were out of focus, like a car going down the street was waving, and if I looked at a telephone pole, it looked like a nest, this sort of thing. But I could see it. That's the problem I had for about 2 weeks until the retina come off. Well, when it was about November 3rd or 4th, when I was having, eye trouble all along, that the eye went completely bad, and I wondered what in the hell was wrong now. So I phoned the office up, and the girl in the office said, come in and see Dr. Arora on November 6th. On November 6th. So, which I did. I went in on November 6th, and he said, well, he said the retina had come off, and he said, this does happen. And he said, I'll make an appointment, and we'll put it back together. And this is what he did. And the appointment was for November 15th. Well, after the operation, I couldn't see. And he said, well, that's normal. He said, what takes place? He says, it's time. And he said, you have to wait 6 or 8 weeks and your vision will come back. With his words and with him being a doctor and with his position and so forth, I trusted the man. I thought he was a doctor. I thought he was honest, reputable, and everything else. And most people do. They go to a doctor, they look at a doctor, and they put him on a pedestal. And that's what I did with Arora. I didn't think he was lying to me all along until I finally found out, but he did. The 1st of December, 1997, about 2 months after the operation, my eye is so sore, my head starts to ring, my ears start to ring. And I said to him, my ears are ringing and my head's ringing. What is happening? And he said, well, this happens sometimes when you have an operation like you did. But he said, sometimes it clears up. He said that you have to give it time and so forth. On the 11th of December, I have another appointment. I said to him, my eye is not getting any better. It is getting worse. I can't see, and it's sore as hell. He said, you have to give it time. You have to have patience. He said, I told you 6 to 8 weeks. He said, it might be a little longer. But he said, you have to listen to me and do as I say. Well, I was so mad, we pretty near come to blows. I called him everything I thought of. And I said, I didn't believe anything he was saying now, and so forth. And we just left on real bad terms. And from then on, he didn't want to see me. He gave me an appointment for the 18th of December, and he said, and when I went there, he wasn't there. It was another doctor. And that doctor looked at my eye and said, well, you come back and see Dr. Arora on the 7th of January after the holiday. This is in the holiday season. Anyway, on the 23rd or the 22nd, in around there, the retina came off again. The office was closed. So I had to wait till after the holiday, which was 2 or 3 days. I phoned the office to see Dr. Arora. The girl said, come in tonight at 5 o'clock. I went in at night at 5 o'clock. It wasn't Dr. Arora at all. It was the other doctor again. The other doctor said he phoned Dr. Arora and told him about my eye and how bad it was. Dr. Arora said, come in and see me on the next morning. And so I went back the next morning to see Dr. Arora. He was on. He kept me waiting for about an hour and a half. He finally come in and he said to me, he said, you don't have to sit there. He says, I've transferred you to Dr. Martin and you've got to see him on the 9th. I called him everything I could think of under my breath and out of my breath. But anyway, He is an absolute, I don't want to say it because I'll get in trouble. I started a lawsuit which cost me about, up till now, about $25,000. I had to pay $300 an hour for the meetings and so forth, and it kept growing and growing, and he was sending away envelopes to different doctors for different opinions, and one cost me $8,000. So the expenses were really high and so forth, and we weren't going anywhere, and so that's why I dropped the case, is because he suggested that we've been trying to go to court for 5 years and so forth, and we're not going anywhere. And he says, you're getting older, and he said, better that, you know, you take it easy and enjoy what you got left. We were suing for yeah, $750,000 and $200,000 for Norm, same thing. So, but then he dropped the suit from $750,000 down to $125,000. I said it was all we could sue for. He said circumstances, and he said, you know, he said at 125, that's what the most you would get. But then again, he said you might not get that amount or any amount. He said it'd be up to 125,000, and he said that was for both of us. And he said that I just think that you should, you know, drop the suit because we don't know how long it's going to go as it is. And another thing what he did was he dropped the case against the St. Joseph's Hospital and said that they didn't have nothing to do with it, which I said that they didn't. I said to them that, he asked me about St. Joseph's Hospital. I said, well, as far as St. Joseph's Hospital, they didn't do nothing wrong. The hospital was open and everything else. I said it was all Dr. Arora. Oh, well then, he said, we won't sue the hospital. That different lawyers that I know said that's the worst mistake I could have made, dropping the hospital. The reason I spray painted Dr. Arora's office was to let people know what kind of a doctor this man is. And I painted it 3 or 4 weeks in a row. If I was younger, it would have been a different story, I think. I think it would have been a different story. But at that time, I just didn't know what to do, didn't know who to turn to. I'd been talking to Monroe and all that, and what the hell? He blinded me, and they're not doing anything about it, you know. So I thought, well, I'll paint his wall. But I didn't think it was as serious as they made it out to be. They make it out to be serious, painting their wall. But anyway, as I said, oh yeah, I painted his wall, and they give me a record, and they're going to fine me and throw me in jail. But he blinded me, but that's okay. My thoughts on the college is that when you appeal to them about your problems, you're not going to get any satisfaction at all, because they will not listen to your problems. They only take the doctor's reports and go by his reports. I think doctors get every conceivable break in the book, and the patient gets nothing, and there's no justice at all.